One time my dad got peed on.
I was nerdy. I was like 8 years old. I went down in Hollywood Way here at night to go to a square dance lesson. I walked out. It was dark, and about 5 kids who were probably 14 or 15 came up and
didn't even know who you were.
No,
you were just a random kid.
Just hassled me into
a little square dancer.
As I recall, one or two of them decided that I needed some liquid refreshment. I would prefer to.
That sounds traumatizing.
Yeah.
Bullying was different back in the day.
I know.
I never peed on a kid or got peed on when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know it was bad.
Did you cry?
I don't remember.
Do you have a urine fetish these days?
No, but I'm an existentialist, which means that I pretty much take things as they happen and go, okay, that's part of life. And so things aren't likely to traumatize me as they might other people. I go,
that's not part of life for most people.
Yeah, that's not part of life, Bob.
Oh.
That's a terrible
Wow.
Sorry you went through that.
I went back.
I feel terrible.
I went back square dance lessons about 6-8 weeks in a row after that.
Wow.
Never
went back for more. You're like, where's the pee? I
never saw my friends.
Now every time you square dance, you get a little salty taste in your mouth.
As a 32-year-old man, if someone peed on me, I would be traumatized. As an 8-year-old boy,
oh my God, yeah,
I would be fucked up. One time,
wow, this podcast has taken a strange turn.
I'm pretty sure that you have a way harder time getting through life than the average person, Ari. I don't know why anybody would listen to this. I know I won't.
Ari, your advice single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to
unlicensed
therapy with Ari Mannis.
In high school, I was voted most likely to be glib.
What's glib mean? They don't use that word anymore.
Oh, they don't
use that word when you were in high school.
Oh, God. Glib is articulate and funny and witty.
Well-spoken.
Nice.
Clever.
Or do they still use glib and I'm just an idiot? Have you used that term?
I know that word.
He's pretty good.
Okay.
He's good
I
with
do know
words.
that word.
Have you heard the word glib?
Okay, so 50% of the room knows the word
pretty
glib.
good.
That's not bad. Okay, so I'm wrong.
Okay.
They still use it. So what year did you graduate high school?
They were using Roman numerals, I know, when I graduated. 1962.
Wow.
That's probably only about 20 or 30 years before you were born.
Yeah, I was born in 89, so yeah, over 20 years, something like that. What year did you graduate high school?
2014.
Wow.
Yeah, young buck.
Wow.
I think I knew you when, how old were you when I met you? 16?
Yeah.
Something around there?
Well, probably younger, but I mean, what year did you start coming around the ice house?
I started coming in 2012.
Right. That's
So,
when the real
16.
estate properties dropped in value.
Did they?
When you started coming out there.
2008.
Oh,
when I started.
right. Yeah, that was right.
Since I've gotten here, the real estate has boomed.
I know it has.
Been good for this city.
It has. Yeah.
So to give an intro to these two gentlemen that are sitting in the studio, because although you guys are famous in certain respects, you're not famous to the general public. This is Bob Fisher, who I'd say in my world is most known for owning the Ice House for 137 years. Is that how long did you own it for?
It's 136 actually, and I just wouldn't give up. I was going to keep doing it until I got it right. So
how long did you actually own the Ice House?
41 years.
41 years.
And then I had 2 years of managing a club in Newport Beach called the Laugh Stop for someone else.
This is before the Ice House.
Before the Ice House.
So what
just
year
right
did you start managing the Laugh Stop?
76, and the Ice House 78. Bought it in 78.
Wow. And then Mitch has worked every job at the Ice House.
Yes.
Under your tutelage.
Except for serving cocktails.
You haven't been a bartender?
I bar backed, and so no, I haven't bartended.
Not yet.
Not yet. And I haven't served cocktails because I don't physically think I could do that.
One time, this is a story about the bartenders at the Ice House. I used to go, so I in 2012, Bob was one of the first people I met in comedy. I was trying to be a comedian, and I was interning at Laugh Stub, who did the website for the Ice House at the time. That's how we got connected.
Yeah.
D. Burdett connected us. And I would come to the Ice House maybe anywhere from 1 to 4 days a week and kind of just sit in the green room and work and do social media for the Ice House, edit clips, whatever it was I was doing.
Eat free food.
And by free food, like Halloween candy Snicker bars.
Right.
Yeah. But very good food. And I was there, and I would drink water as well. I was there. I would drink free bottles of water. I believe it was Arrowhead at the time. And well, did you guys ever have an Arrowhead phase? Do you remember?
Earliest I remember, it was like custom Ice House water a long time ago.
Never had. I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, that was a long time. I think it was Arrowhead.
I think it was Arrowhead. We got to get the details right.
Wow.
Details matter.
Wow.
Is Arrowhead paying you?
Does this show concentrate on discussing water brands?
So water brands are important to me, and we're
okay.
drinking Liquid Death right now for
All right,
everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I was in the Ice House green room, and I got up to get another bottle of refreshing Arrowhead, and there were warm ones in the green room, but I wanted a cold one. So I walked behind the Ice House bar, the main bar, and I opened the fridge door, and I just changed out.
This is during the day?
It was during the day. It was
Okay.
at like 2 in the afternoon, and I changed out the waters. As I'm walking out of the bar area with my cold Arrowhead water, Kirk, does he still work there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kirk.
Yeah. So there's
He's a
club.
bartender. I think he's the head bartender.
Yeah.
He goes, "Were you just behind the bar?" And I go,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I got a water." And he goes, "Don't ever go behind my bar again."
Oh, shit.
And then I had been here. I had been going there every day for 3 or 4 days a week now for like 6-8 months. Oh,
Yeah.
a decent
Yeah.
chunk of time.
Yeah.
I wasn't like a stranger.
You got to be in the business to understand when when it's his bar.
His
They
bar.
don't want any bartender. They don't want people who don't belong there behind the bar. It's kind of like having sex with their girlfriend or wife. They're really strong about that.
Part of me gets it. Part of me felt bad for him.
Yeah.
That was so important to him.
Hey,
That he was legitimately upset.
I
He
still-
wasn't like, because the other thing is he could have been like, "Hey, no big deal at all. In the future,
Yeah.
just I don't. No one's supposed to go back there but me. Can you just have
Yeah.
me and I'll get a water?"
Well,
but the way he said it, I was like,
Yeah,
"You're an
I
asshole."
don't like Kirk, but but what I want to say is it's kind of standard for the industry. It's not just Kirk. It's like all of them. They don't want you behind their bar.
He could have been nicer about it.
I'm just.
Oh, okay.
First of all,
this is 7 years later, and I still remember. That's how mean he was about it. Yeah.
Wow.
I work with Kirk on a daily basis still, so I just want to go on the record saying Kirk's great. He's right next to me.
You'll
He sits
find
right
out.
next to me.
You'll-
But I'm just thinking from a psychological standpoint, you were younger then. You didn't have this mustache that you do now, so you looked like a young boy.
And me and him are cool now. We've had interactions
good.
that were friendly since then,
Me too.
and we've never discussed it again since either. I never brought it up. I think my response in the moment was, "Okay, yeah. No,
You
no
know,
worries."
based
Yeah.
on what's going on here,
Yeah.
apparently you should bring it up, Ari, because it's
I'm holding
it's a
animosity.
problem
Eating
for
away,
you. Yes,
yeah.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
Stunting.
Should I bleep out his name? Or I'll bleep it out
Okay.
in the story. But that's my bar story. Sorry to interrupting
That was a good start.
your beginnings, but
Yeah.
that's
That was-
probably the only negative experience I've had at the Ice House.
You might want to think of putting that in your act.
It's good. It's a good story.
I remember another negative story experience you had at the Ice House.
Oh, I
now,
wanna
I don't
hear
remember
this.
the details. You'll have to tell it. And maybe you've talked about it because I would imagine this is significant. But what was it? Maybe you don't want to talk about this, actually.
No, I want to know now. I don't know. I have no idea what you're.
I think this was at the
thinking.
Ice House. You were
Okay.
doing some show in stage 2. You'll have to tell the story. I don't remember the story, but the lady left like a negative review or something.
Oh, this is. Well, Bob doesn't own it anymore, so I could tell the story. This would make this would get me banned from the Ice House.
I'm not surprised, but go ahead.
And you telling the story actually made me think of another negative experience
Great.
too, but I'll
Okay.
tell that one first. So,
Good.
do you remember Comedy Juice?
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I believe it was on Thursday evenings,
Right.
sometimes in the main room, but then it started to slow down, so they moved it to stage 2.
Right.
So I was hosting Comedy Juice, and at the time, for me, that was a big deal.
That's
for
a
me.
good gig.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a good lineup.
Right.
It was at the world famous Ice House Comedy Club. I'm like 7-8 months into comedy. I was very excited to be there hosting.
Sure.
And the lineup in my mind was all these comedians that I wanted to be like. It was like, I think at the time it was Jay Larson, Adam Ray, Donnell Rawlings, people of that caliber, headliners in my mind. People who were
always get
working
good
comedians.
names.
Yeah, they were good names. And I'm hosting, and I go up in stage 2. I, in my mind, did a good job. The audience laughed. I feel like I know when I bomb. I didn't bomb this night. And in my mind, all the other comedians proceeded to do well. At the end of the show, I was standing outside the door, and I was handing out free Comedy Juice tickets to come back to another show. Say, hey, thanks for coming. Here's a ticket if you ever want to come back. Promoting.
Right.
And this lady, an elderly lady, I say, hey, thanks for coming. Hand her a ticket. She goes, you guys need to give free tickets to get audience here. This place used to be good. I'm never coming back here again. That show is horrible. Says like this, just insults the show.
That's the last time I let my mother come to a show. Ha ha ha.
And says it's just so mean for no reason. And saying it to me who's hosting.
Yeah.
And I think I said something like, oh, there was a lot of comedians. You didn't like any of them? And she goes, no, it was horrible. I'm never coming back here again. You guys are sad or something.
Yeah.
And I remember her husband was kind of standing there, and he looked embarrassed on her behalf, and they just walked. And I was so angry. I had like a fit of rage building up inside me. And I'm driving home from Pasadena. It's a half-hour drive here. And I'm just stewing on the road, thinking about how awful this lady is and why would she say that? You could have said nothing. You could have just done. There's so many other ways she could have handled that better, in my opinion. I get home. I was an intern at Laugh Stub still at this time. So I went on the ticket holders for that show. There was only about 15 purchased tickets. And I went and copy and pasted each name into Facebook. And I found the lady on Facebook. And she, this might be illegal. It was 10 years ago. I think there's statute of limitations. I find the lady who said this mean thing on Facebook. And I see that she's a teacher. And she had just developed an app for children, for an iPad, to teach them how to read.
Oh, geez.
So then I went on Fiverr.com, which is like a site where you can pay people to do things. And I paid for about 300 one-star reviews on her iPad app.
Jesus.
Wow.
Really
and just
vindictive.
shut that app down.
This is I know you reasonably well. You always come across as so mellow, down to earth. I'm amazed that you carried that kind of rage inside you.
It was rageful.
It
was
in
a
him.
weak moment of weakness.
Have you ever yelled at your parents?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not in a long time.
Yeah.
But when I was a child, it was constant yelling. Yeah, that was a lot of baggage there.
Did you successfully nip that app in the bud? Did it?
I mean, the app is still there, I assume.
Yeah.
But it looks as though it was not a well-received app.
Yeah.
That woman
know
took
I
her
hit
life,
her.
you know. How's that make you feel?
If she did take her life,
Yeah.
I'd be indifferent about it. She was an awful lady.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
You said she was old, so
She was old.
yeah. So.
I did a warm-up once for a sitcom. And
You were the audience warm-up?
Yeah. And
I would love to.
And
What was the
I had-
Was this filmed?
No, not my part of it.
I would
no,
love
the,
to see that.
The sitcom was.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I went and watched a couple of them beforehand. Guys learned, made notes, did my thing there. And it's hard, because you get up, you don't know how many times you're going to get up in a 2 or 3 hour period.
Totally.
And each time you get up, you don't know whether you're going to be up for a minute, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. So anyhow, I did the thing. It was over. I thought I'd done fairly well like you. And this guy walks by and he shakes my hand and he says, "Nice try."
And did he work for the show?
No, I
Or
don't
was he an
know.
audience
I think
member?
it was just an audience member. But I'm kind of basking, feeling all right.
Yeah.
Nice try. Okay, thank you.
Jerk.
Now, I never knew you did that because to me, amongst comedians, audience warm-up gigs, although are not very fun most of the time,
Right.
are coveted gigs. They pay a lot of doing audience warm-up for a sitcom gig. I think they start at like $500-$600 a day for a few hours of work.
Well, try this.
Yeah.
If you're good at it, and and a friend of mine is, and whose name will not go mention, try 2,500 to 3,000.
Well, that's when you're good, when you've been
When you're
doing it a while.
really
Yeah,
good
yeah.
at it.
When you're in demand.
So you get a couple a week. That's $7,000 a week just
Yeah.
to do 2 nights of audience warm up.
So I was going to
pretty
say, it's like I know so many comedians that would kill for that gig,
Oh yeah.
and you did it.
Well, I did it one time.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
guy said, "Nice try," and it
You
turned
didn't
out
wanna
he
do
was
it again?
he was absolutely right.
They didn't have you back?
No.
You're like, all right, so I'm available
No.
anytime. They're like,
Yeah, no.
we got this.
They were not. They took my clothes and my car, so they were not happy with what I did. So
I've never heard of that when someone's mad at someone to take their clothes in their car.
I sometimes I wish I wouldn't have taken acid before I came here today, but I'm okay. I'm
What
all
was
right.
what was the sitcom?
Oh, good
I
question.
can't remember, but it was. I wasn't a major one that you would have heard of. It was like a sitcom. They were filming their initial,
The pilot.
like a pilot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So I want to go back in time. When you got this job managing for the club in Orange County, you said?
Yeah.
In Laguna?
Yeah. Newport Beach.
Newport Beach?
Yeah, the Laugh Stop.
The Laugh Stop, which is no longer there.
Right.
And is that where you met the legendary Jan Smith, too?
No.
Or no?
Well,
Okay.
Jan Smith I met in junior high. We've been friends for a long
Wow.
time.
Okay.
And so he would come to the Laugh Stop. He always wanted to get into the comedy club business, but so that was it.
But when you started managing at the Laugh Stop,
Yeah.
did you already have in mind that I want to own a comedy club, or how did that come about?
I had my mind that I was broke and I would do it for a couple years, hopefully save money and get back up to
So it
the
was just
Bay
a job.
Area. It was just a job.
Yeah.
I wanted to get back up to the Bay Area and live up there again. I love it up there. So
So just a job, how did you even see that they were hiring?
another old buddy of mine from college knew that I'd been successful as a marketing person for IBM. And he's the one who said, "Hey, you want to come down and try this and see what's going on?" And, I always had a reasonable sense of humor. So I went, well, let's give it a try. I wasn't working. I had no money. And they offered me more money than I'd been making
At IBM?
working as a salesperson for IBM.
The Laugh
So-
Stop in Newport Beach
Yeah.
paid more than IBM. That's
Well,
interesting.
let's go back the years. In my first year in IBM, I made $16,000. It was like, holy shit! What am I going to do with all this money? So things have changed.
That's what it was. That's what it was like back then. People would just walk up to you and be like, "Do you want a really high paying job?"
Here's a house for $10,000.
Well, yesterday I put $102 worth of gas in my car.
Yeah.
And Mitch has heard this story many times, but my dad used to own a gas station in Burbank, and when I was 12 years old, I worked for him. And people would come in and they'd ask for a fill up. I'd give them $16 worth of, 16 gallons. They'd give me $3,
Wow.
and I would give them change.
The good old days.
Is that wild? So the scary part, though, is they would have never believed that it could be $100. Well, guess what? It's going to be in 20 years from now. You'll still be around,
In
Ari.
20 years from now, gas stations will be a weird phenomenon because everyone's going to drive electric cars. for most
Yeah,
people.
well, that's true. Ari, when are you going to get a job? I mean, I don't mean to sound like your parents, but I'm talking about a real job.
Today's episode of Unlicensed Therapy is brought to you by Speciosa. Speciosa is kratom. And if you're not familiar with kratom, kratom is a all-natural super leaf. They've been using it in Thailand for centuries. And it's kind of in that same relative vicinity as the coffee plant. I would compare it to the coffee plant. You can take it and it helps me relax my body, gives my mind some energy, and I just feel good on it. And I'm not talking about good like out of my mind or uncontrollably good. I just feel good, but I can still function very well. And I really like it. It's just, I think it's one of those things where I just do it from time to time when I'm feeling in the mood. I've tried Speciosa's kratom, and I really like it. Right now I have some Gris Mangda kratom powder right here. You can mix that with a drink, make some tea from it. I know they also sell capsules because they're really easy to use. And I recommend the green strain. It's the most popular, and I like it. Right now, you could go to getsuperleaf.com/therapy and get 20% off with the promo code therapy. That's getsuperleaf.com/therapy and use the promo code therapy for 20% off. I've tried it, and I really enjoy it. It helps me get through the day with a better mindset and better attitude. And I would like to see you guys try it and let me know what you think.
He yells at his parents, so be careful.
Oh, that's right.
Hopefully
That's right.
never,
Never.
but who knows? In a month from now, I might be hitting up Mitch to see if I could be a bar back at the Ice House.
Well, you
up
have
to
to
me.
talk to Kirk on that.
He'll be hitting up Kirk. So, go ahead.
I would say we'll put in a good word.
Thank
with
you.
him
I
for you.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. Well, I don't think your word means much over there anymore.
Well, I don't think he likes me.
You're out of there.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
a
true.
few years ago, your word would have meant something. Now they're like, yeah, that
That's
guy
right.
doesn't own this place anymore. We don't care what he has to say.
No one has invited me back, by the way. It's been over
Well,
2 years.
It's closed. So,
I know.
yeah.
Well, I'm hard up. I'd go back
Yeah.
even when it's closed. I don't
I
have
would
a
like
lot
to
to
see
do.
a tour as well. I'd like to see it in its current condition.
I've gone through it. It's going to be fantastic.
That's cool. But so you were managing at this lap stop.
Yeah.
How old were you at this time?
31.
31. Okay,
Opening
so about
act.
my age.
Opening act. 5 nights. 8 shows. $100 a week. Robin Williams.
Rob Williams would go down last stop to host, you're saying?
He was an opening act. He was
Got
one
it.
of the
One of the
acts. Was there.
openers.
He worked there for the week for $100, 8 shows.
And at the
7 or
time,
8.
is $100, is that
No.
enough to pay your bills? Or
No,
So it's
no.
kind of same wages that comedy clubs pay now.
A little
The
bit,
opening
yeah,
acts, yeah.
a little bit.
Like it's fun,
Yeah.
you get a little cash, you get a meal, but no opening act is making a living.
Well, $100
And
is
stand-up.
$20 a day, 100 for the week. So it wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of money. No one was getting rich doing anything like that.
Yeah. And so how much was the closing act getting at the last stop?
$100 on a show.
Our show, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Still,
And the closing
yeah.
acts were Gallagher, Jay Leno, David Letterman, people like that. They were appearing for $100 for the week.
Wow. That's pretty exciting.
There weren't
So-
very many clubs, so they were happy to
Yeah,
have
and
a
it's
place
only an
to
hour
play.
from the Comedy Store where they were probably playing and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So you, at this time, were 31 years old. You're the GM,
Yes, right,
general manager of Last
Yeah.
Stop. You did it for 2 years.
right.
And then how did you end up purchasing the Ice House?
I 2 years gave notice. I was going to move back to San Francisco,
A-town.
and that's when my buddy Jan Smith that you mentioned earlier said, "Hey, I just saw that the Ice House in Pasadena is for sale. You interested in going out there?" And I went, "No way! I never want to work this hard again." You know, the nightclub business is pretty tough
Yeah.
because there's no Friday at 5 like there'd been when I was at IBM. You know, you're off at 5, you go have a drink, you relax, you got the whole weekend to get it together again, then you go back on Monday. In the nightclub business, you're working 7 days a week, day and night. So it is a pretty crazy business.
Because
when
they
you're
had you
running a
doing
club.
everything. You weren't just managing. You were on stage and
Well, I was emceeing a little bit, and so I was doing quite a few things. But still, any of those, it's
Yeah.
being a GM, a club is tough.
When you were emceeing, was that something you wanted to do, or did you just that just became part of the job? Were you at the time going, I might do comedy?
I never thought I would do comedy for a living, but like in high school, I was president of the Forensic League. So I was very comfortable getting up in front of people and I had a sense of humor, and we were looking to save money. And
Got it.
so I was up there to really, more than anything else, to save $50 or something
Yeah.
like that.
$50 a week? Yeah, you go up there each time.
Yeah. And then when I started getting laughs, I went, God, this is good. People treating me like a god. Well, I don't have to tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Comedians are treated like gods. That's the first I've ever heard that. Or comedians are treated like horse shit.
Gods.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes we're treated nice.
Depends-
Ice treats comedians.
You've
nice.
seen
Depends on the
people in the
comedy.
front. You've seen pretty girls in the front row really look up at you like you're a god.
I've seen both sides of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
If you're killing on stage and there's a pretty girl that's laughing at everything you say,
Yeah.
it's a good look for you. That
My-
being said, if you're not killing on stage
Right.
and having an off night,
Yeah.
avoiding
is
eye
very
contact.
You're going to
attractive.
go home alone.
Yeah.
My brother, who back in the 60s was with a singing group called the Diamonds, and they had a couple number one hit records. When he would appear, there'd be these girls in the front row, and they're just, and after a few years of
musicians get it.
essentially
Yeah.
being with whoever you wanted, one time as he told me, I just want to see if this works. And without even talking to a girl, after their set was over, he pointed at her and he went,
and it worked.
no. No, it worked. He says it worked.
Your brother was in a #1 hit band.
The Diamonds.
Did you know this?
I did. I know all about
So
it.
he was like a straight up.
They were huge. You can go to
band in a
any
famous
Johnny
band.
Rockets in the nation and find a Diamond song.
And
right.
and when you listen, it's your uncle.
Yes.
What instrument did he play?
Voice. The voice
Is your
an
uncle
instrument.
singing?
Yes.
He was in a singing group.
So did not to make this about your brother, but so is your brother like a rich celebrity?
Absolutely not.
No, he was thrilled. He got $500 a week and expenses, and he traveled all over the country. He went from being an apprentice electrician, where he was digging ditches. He gets a call. He auditions for the Diamonds. They choose.
Oh, it was like a
they
boy
choose
band.
him. Yeah. Well,
It was like
they
the
really
Backstreet
didn't.
Boys of their time.
Well,
Honestly,
maybe that's
probably.
True. That's kind of like,
Probably.
Yeah.
So he auditioned. So after about a month after digging ditches, he's on stage in Hawaii with them.
Did he do singing lessons growing up, or was it just all natural?
In high
God-given
school, he
talent?
was in choir, and he formed a group back then called the Four Preps with a guy named Bruce Bellin. So this is way before your time.
Were you
but
jealous
anyhow-
when he was traveling the world singing?
No. I looked up to him.
But you could be both, like thrilled and jealous, because
I-
that sounds like a pretty incredible life.
I don't. Jealousy's not really part of me. I've
Yeah.
never really not jealous about anyone or anything. I'm comfortable with who I am. And for my brother, my older brother, I would spend hours in the old days with a dial phone. At night on KFWB, they had a station. They'd have the pick of the night, and you would call in the most requested. And I'd be doing my homework, and I'd be dialing. And most of the time, you get a business signal, but then I'd get through, and I'd go, yeah, I'd like to request She Say by the Diamonds. I'd hang up, and I'd dial 12 more times, and I might get through, and I'd go,
Just to help him out.
yeah, I'd go,
Just to help him
hi,
out.
yeah, She Say by the Diamonds. And, at the end of the evening, when the guy said, B. Mitchell Reed said, hey, and tonight's #1 most requested song, She Say by the Diamonds, I'd go, well, maybe I helped out. That felt pretty
Sounds
good.
like you did.
Yeah.
There's
So,
also an 8-year age difference, so he probably wasn't old
He's
enough
older
to.
than me.
Yeah, it was like
Hard to believe,
much
I
8
know.
years
brother.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a brother that's 10 years younger. I get it. Yeah.
Are you good? Are you-
Jonah.
Does
Are
he
you
call the
good to
Laugh
him?
Factory and he's like, "Can you book Ari Mannis?
He would
Can
if
you
I
book
asked
Ari
him to.
Mannis?"
He would if I asked him to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're pretty close. We weren't growing when he was growing up. He was a very annoying child,
Yeah.
as children are, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
But once they passed through puberty, my brothers, then I was able to be cool with them.
I'm so sorry that he's doing that.
Well, also, an 8 or you said 10 years?
Yeah,
10-year difference when you're, 18 and 8 is quite a bit different from when you're 35 and
Exactly.
whatever. So
yeah.
27.
So yeah, at about 14, 15,
Yeah.
we became friends.
Good.
And you're an only child,
Just me.
so your older brother is your dad.
You could say that. You could say that if you really wanted to.
We've
to.
had some fun together. We've been Mitch has been to the South Pacific islands called what were they again?
Yeah, Rarotonga.
Rarotonga,
I was very young. I
Natutaki,
was very
and-
young then.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun. So we've partied a little bit.
Yeah, you guys party hard together. You go to the body shop after this together.
Strip club.
I'm not allowed in there. That's where actually I had one of my bachelor parties there.
At the well, that
yeah,
sounds pretty
yeah.
fun.
First marriage. That was when I had my.
Is that true?
And
Yeah.
didn't work out.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah,
So you bought the ice house with Jan then?
yeah. Jan and another guy, Mark Weingarten, and the three of us went
Sounds
at
Jewish.
it. Yeah,
Gross.
he is. He
Real
is.
gross.
He is.
Three Jews.
3 Jews.
Three
It's a trio of
Jews.
Jews,
yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Wow, and I think we paid retail for it too, which is not good. So
What do you mean you paid you paid a really high price for it?
No, not really. I was just Artie.
Artie.
The joke is Jews don't pay retail. We want to pay wholesale. You know that. So see, I was trying to get a laugh
I'm
by
bad
saying,
Jew.
I
Bad-
know,
I'm a bad
I know,
comedian,
I
bad
know.
Jew. So how much did you guys pay for the ice house at the time?
$75,000.
So $25K each.
Yeah. And actually,
Was it 25K each?
Actually,
Were
it
you
was
equal partners?
Yeah, but it was $5,000 each because we couldn't afford $75,000. We had
Put
to
a
put
down payment.
$5,000 each,
Loan.
and I had to borrow the $5,000 because I had a zippity doodah. So I borrowed money from a friend, and that was how I got my $5,000 that you get in the ice house.
So you each paid $5K,
$5K for the ice house, and
all borrowed.
I was the only one that had been in the business, before. And I said, listen, I'll do this for 1 year. We'll try to turn it around, and then I'm going to sell it, make a little money, and then I'm going to go back up north.
So it was
And
when you guys bought the business, it was losing money each month.
in the beginning there was always comics, but it was mainly a music club. And so folk music. And so folk music had gone out of style. And so it was not doing well. And so that's partially why they wanted to sell it. I turned it with my pals into all comedy.
Was that your idea from day one? You're
Yeah,
like,
because I'd been real successful at the Laugh Stop with
Right.
all comedy. And I went, well, let's do the same thing there and see what happens.
and did you you rebranded as a comedy club in Pasadena?
Yeah.
And at the time, there's no internet.
Right.
Your
There's a
rebranding is putting posters around town saying Ice House Comedy Club.
And working the mimeograph machine.
And did any part of you guys want to? The mimeograph machine is a machine that we don't know what it is.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's for senior citizens.
That is weird when I say, someone asked me, what'd you do for a living? I said, well, when I got out of college, I sold typewriters and dictation equipment for IBM. And they went, oh, what are those? I had no idea. And I went, yeah, that's right.
Typewriters.
Wow.
That's right. You know, when you talk about stuff like this,
And to you, it's just
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
so what comes to my mind is, whoa, I better not postpone anything. I bet if there's things I want to do on my bucket list, let's get them done now,
So, yeah. So at the time, you rebranded it to the Ice House Comedy
Yeah.
Club. It was just
Yeah.
the Ice House.
Yes. And at the end of the year, we tried to sell it. Didn't work out.
No
And
one wanted it,
Oh, I didn't know that.
even though you had turned it around.
Well, it wasn't doing that
Oh,
well.
it wasn't doing that good.
Yeah. So, but I got stubborn and I bought my partners out and I said, well, I'll keep going for a little while longer to turn it around. And voila, 41 years later, I was able to sell it.
So I'm a little confused because, first I had a question I forgot to ask you. Were any part of you guys saying, let's just drop the Ice House name completely? Since
No.
it's known as this music folk club, were you guys, was that a discussion like, hey, maybe we should rename it to something else?
We renamed it the New Ice House. We wanted to keep the name. It
Yeah.
was popular, but we wanted to let people know that things had changed a little bit. So
And then, so a year later, you kept the original plan. Let's see if we could sell this thing. No one's buying.
not really.
For the-
Someone
for the
put a
moment.
deposit down for $1,500, and then they changed their mind. But
Got
that
it.
was
So it
it.
went into escrow, fell out.
Yeah,
Now, originally you said, I'll do this for a year and then I'm out.
yeah.
But now it's switched to, hey, not only am I not out, but I want all of it.
Yeah, well, what happened, I really didn't necessarily want all of it, but my partners and I were not getting along in terms of they wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. So we're kind of in a standstill.
Interesting.
And we realized that someone had to buy the others out and then take their vision and
Now-
run with it. And I was the only one that could get an unsecured bank loan. So I got $40,000 from the bank and bought them out.
Oh, so they made money off you.
Yeah,
So not only do you buy them out, but you're like, hey, I'll give
it
you
was a
more
profit.
than what you paid.
Yeah, it was a profit.
So they were happy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you guys, obviously the turmoil couldn't have been that bad because Jan ended up still working there at some point. So you and
He
Jan,
didn't. He left. He actually owned his own club, opened a club a couple years later called Igby's right around here, actually, not far away. And when Jan came back was many years later just to do the booking. But we've
Right.
always been
But
friends.
But so I'm saying the disagreements were not like,
Right.
F you, this
right.
is my
no,
idea.
we were
was-
just
it was
stagnant.
amicable.
We just needed to do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ari, look at me. I only have amicable disagreements with people.
You know, I do believe you,
Yeah.
but everyone has.
The
Meets
only
bad
enemy
people.
the only enemy I made in 43 years in the business was George Lopez.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So would he would never go there again? Or at least
There was
maybe
a
now
re-
that you don't own it anymore, he would.
Maybe he would, but there was a real special night where he and Arsenio came there, and they stayed till 3:15 in the morning, and I stayed, and it was really special to hang with him. I didn't do that often,
Right.
So we took pictures in the morning at 3:15, and then about a week later, George sends me one of the pictures that was taken. Well, in it, he is smashed, and Arsenio has his eyes closed, and I'm looking pretty exhausted. I'd been there 17 hours that day.
Okay.
Arsenio had said, I got to get up early in the morning, but he hung around to be with George till 3:15. He was tired, and George was
drunk.
George, had been drinking a bit, and I went to send that to my brother and go, hey, George, and Arsenio and da-da-da, and George, you can see, has had a few, and da-da-da-da. And I'm so good with the phone, right, Mitch?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe you're telling this story.
This is recently.
Well, this was a couple years ago.
This is a really privileged story. He hasn't told anyone else this. to my knowledge.
So I go to text it to my brother, and I screwed up, and it didn't go to my brother. It went to George. And he saw it, and he's never talked to me since. I've apologized. I was wrong in what I said, but he didn't want to have anything to do with me. Hopefully it'll work out some way, but I understand.
The important thing
we've all been
is
there.
you don't work at the Ice House anymore, and I still do, and we'd love to have George Lopez come on down anytime. He's not there anymore.
It's an honest mistake. So in his head, he goes, this guy's an asshole.
I think what happens is that he considered me a friend. And so even though it wasn't like a major horrible thing I did, well, it's a reason to be disappointed. A friend shouldn't be doing something like that.
Yeah.
So I understand. I take blame for it. I wouldn't handle the disciplinary part of it the same way, but if that's what he needs to do, I get it.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. But I think that's at one time I wanted to I was talking about a girl who I was seeing but not that into anymore. And I was talking about her with a friend. And I sent the message to her.
Oh.
Because you're thinking about that person, so you don't realize you type in their name by mistake. It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a common
problem.
thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mitch would never
It's
make
ended
a mistake
marriages.
like
It's
that.
ended.
No, I've done that. I did that once. I don't remember what happened, but I remember doing that. So
Do you remember
common
what the disagreements you had with the other two owners? What the major disagreement was to the point where you guys are like, hey, one of us needs to take over this thing because we are just not seeing eye to eye.
I really don't, but I
Yeah.
suspect it was maybe one of them wanted to do a little more variety and a little less comedy.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to go, let's stick with mainly comedy with an occasional variety act.
Right.
And then the other one I know wanted to book you. Oh, wait a minute. That was long before you were on the planet even.
Yeah.
No, I honestly don't
remember.
remember what we were. I think one of them I was unhappy with because he really wasn't working very much. He was a partner, but he was kind of, I thought, flaky.
Yeah.
And I
wasn't
went,
putting in his 33%.
Yeah, that's what I felt. So that was one of the problems.
So you took it over. How long after you're the sole owner
Right.
is the place in the green?
It took about 5 more years.
So you ran it for 5 years.
Ran it for
In the red.
7 years, 2 with them, and then 5 more just with me. It wasn't in the red. It was making just enough money to get by. It was profitable, and I was making my salary. But in terms of thinking ahead to okay, I got to make extra money here so I can put it away, so that when I'm 65, I'll be independent.
You weren't losing money. You just weren't. It wasn't doing well.
Right. It never lost a lot of money, but
Yeah.
it started doing well. A comedy kind of picked up a lot in the about 83, 84.
I remember. Yeah,
and-
the comedy boom of the 80s.
yeah. And I mean, the 2 shows or 3 shows in the main room were sold out 3 days in advance. And even the little room, we had 2 shows. They were sold out. So those were some good years where
Is that
we were
about the
banking
time
some
when the
money.
Laugh Factory opened in the 80s? Do you remember?
I think.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah, I
about
think.
that time. There's this comedy boom. The stores
Yeah.
popping off. You got the Hollywood Improv.
Right.
And so as an owner, and the Ice House isn't really competition to those clubs so much because it's 30 minutes away. I'm sure there's some overlap a little
Or like
bit.
off Broadway.
But yeah, it's not.
We're not.
really competition. So are you friends with? You have a little feather on your face right there. Yeah, you
gone?
got it. Yeah, got it.
I may need that, so I don't want to throw that away.
So
Am I friends with?
Are you? Did you know Mitzi Shore? Did you know the improv owner? His name's slipping me.
Bud Friedman.
Did you know Jamie Masada at the Laugh Factory? Are you friends with all these people?
Mike Lacey at the Comedy Magic Club.
Mike Lacey at the Comedy
Yeah,
Magic.
it was friend. Mitzi, I met once, and she said hi, and that was it. So I
Yeah.
didn't have anything to do with her. But Bud Friedman and his wife Alex and I we met once in Paris and had lunch at the Eiffel Tower restaurant in the Eiffel
That
Tower.
was not your first time meeting, was it?
No.
No,
But
you're
I'm
not
just
your
saying
friend.
we were
Yeah.
friendly
Yeah,
enough
you're friend.
that we would do that. We,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to be in France, so are we. We'll meet you there.
Yeah.
Meet you at the
Jamie's
Eiffel
always
Tower.
been great to me. Mike Lacey, Comedy Magic, a really great guy. And
You guys know what's happening with that club? Is that club coming back?
Yeah.
The last I heard, it's coming back. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a matter of.
I think there was at one point where they were selling it or it wasn't coming back during the pandemic.
I think Mike decided that I'm not sure whether he's going to be still overseeing it, but I think it was just a matter of time before he sold it or found someone to buy it. So
that's the only comedy club in LA that I've never performed at.
Comedy Magic?
Comedy Magic.
Yeah. That's that club has standards.
It's the only one that has standards.
Yeah, that could be. I'm not saying, but that could be the problem.
So they're the best club, clearly. Yeah, the only one. I know they want clean, but I could do 8 minutes clean.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that if you're famous, I think they let you do whatever you want. But if you're not famous, they want you to be clean. And I've also never like gone with any friends that are performing. I've never tried to perform there. I've never been rejected.
I could be wrong, but I think they have like their kind of set people that they go with. You know what I mean? I think
they do, but there's comedians who I started with that
they just go
there,
up.
so it's doable. I think you get recommended. It's like anywhere else.
Yeah,
they bring you with. They get it. They audition.
Do you know Richard, who has booked that club for a long time?
No.
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah. I've never put in the. I say it like they don't book me. They don't know who I am.
Yeah,
it's not nothing bad.
Maybe if you sucked up to him like he used to suck up to me, you'd be able to play the Comedy
I don't
Magic
suck
Club.
up to anyone. People book me for my raw talent.
I don't get afraid.
See that? The booker's repeating my jokes.
Oh,
that's the type of man
I have your set
am.
memorized. I think
That's desperation. That's I think. Ari, let me just say I've been joking a lot, but you've come a long way, baby, from when you started out to where you are now.
I've come a little ways at least.
Well, I think
I think
a long way.
Ways, but
You're
a little ways.
so casual and yet confident on stage.
Yeah,
it's fun to see where you are and where you're going to go still.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
You're going to be famous.
No, definitely not. But after this interview comes out, the podcast got into the next level.
I'm not asking. I'm telling you.
You're telling me?
You're going to be famous.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll remember you say that.
Listen to him.
He's a talent scout.
Yeah. No, I know.
That's a talent scout right there. That's
actually, he is. He does have a good ear for talent.
I think he does.
And he does pick out.
I feel like every time we talk about comedy together and who we like and who we don't like, our tastes align.
Yeah.
The comedians you like, I like all the people you book. I'm like, yep, they're funny. And the people you're like, I don't like that person. I'm like, yeah, good call.
Yeah.
On that person.
Yeah, and I mean, I've gone to you in the past too and been like, I don't know this guy. Is he any good?
Yeah, I remember putting together your first lineup with you.
That's right.
And then like picking, like telling you how my philosophy on like who should go
right,
first.
the order. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was the
order. That was very helpful. I forgot about that. I think that was my free sample show that I did, where we gave out free samples from local Pasadena businesses.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
I remember that was good.
Never gonna happen
we did
again.
one, Ari.
We
did a show.
Tried a couple little projects together. Yeah, we did the
iPhone one or the
iPhone
cell phone
where people
one.
could pitch ideas.
What did you call that? It was
I forget
it was like smartphone comedy or something like that.
Yeah, now it probably sounds very dated, but it was basically
It sounded
people
dated
could.
then.
We had a thread up on a projector screen on stage, and anyone from the audience can basically send things in, and the comedian could riff off of that.
Yeah, he would look back and see what they'd said, and
And overall, we're good. Even in stage 2 of the Ice House, it wasn't like open to the internet. So for anyone, because then I could see if it was online, people sending in dick pics or prank tags.
Yeah.
But there was still someone sent in, I think, a dick pic from the stage too. There was still one person in the audience who's like, "I'm gonna fuck this show up and ruin it." But
they ought to call stage 2 now stage 2 3/4 because
it's bigger.
He's expanded it.
What it was before and what is it now?
I think. Okay, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was 80 before, and the last I've heard, it's 160 now.
It's about as big as the main room.
Wow!
They knocked out my dad's whole office.
My office is gone.
That wall.
What if those walls could talk?
So where's his office? Where's the owner's office now?
He rents these like offices right across the way there. So
where the massage parlor was?
yeah, above that.
Yeah.
So
right.
So
Yeah,
he rented
a whole wing of offices. You know, did we talk about that? The new owner is Johnny Buss.
Yes.
Part of the Buss family.
Yes.
Who owns the Lakers. And Johnny owns a good portion of it. So really, he is truly interested in comedy and comedians and the audiences. He's not at the Ice House to make money. He doesn't have to worry about that.
But I'm sure he's not there to make money, but he'll still try to make it a profitable business.
Yeah, you don't want to lose money because, it is a gauge of how well you're doing if you're profitable. What I'm saying is it's not at the top of the list for him. He wants
to make it dope.
He wants to be proud of the club and proud of the acts that perform there, and he wants audiences to love what they see.
Yeah, but I feel like you were the same way. For the most part, I mean, you wanted it to be a profitable business, but I don't think you ever let that hinder the club.
You're right. I did. I definitely, it was real important to me that the audiences be treated with respect, and the comedians and everyone and employees.
Hopefully the Ice House isn't so like, is there still, does it still feel like the Ice House? Or does it feel like a completely different place?
No, I mean, I think parts of it are going to feel pretty different in a good way, but I think a lot of it is going to be pretty similar. Like the main room, it looks pretty much, well, not quite untouched, but he's keeping that largely the same, which I think is cool because that was like the room everyone loves. But then I know the VIP room is going to be like, or the green room rather is going to be like completely different.
Nice.
Really nice. But no, I think he's preserving a lot of
And if they made Stage 2 twice as big, they're going to definitely have to change the name from Stage 2 to something else. I would assume.
I think so.
I think they should. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said that to you since I met you. That was one of my things. I was like, got to change Stage 2, but we just never thought of a name that everyone.
Well, you
loved.
kept touting Ari's place.
Yeah, it should
I
be
don't
Ari's.
see that as I don't. Why?
Because it was my idea to change the name. No one ever had that idea before me.
Okay.
It was my idea. It should be named after me.
Okay.
You just said I'm going to be famous one day.
Right.
Start it there.
I mean, it makes sense.
And Kirk is coming up with he's heading the new name project. So I'll suggest that to him.
Kirk's going to be my right-hand man.
Yeah,
in the
thanks.
Ari's room.
I think we should pitch the actual conversation we had the other day, which is we should call it the Annex again. And both of us like that. And
I
that's
think
a
it should
cool
be
name.
Annex again.
I like the Annex.
Yeah, I think the Annex. And it's like, it has history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it's like when they bring back the McRib sandwich at McDonald's every year.
It's just
People
like
know
that.
it. They like it.
Is it just me, or is that not quite?
It's not quite centered.
It's not quite rotated the way it needs to come down a little bit, right?
There
you go.
I
just,
Oh, no.
The rotation didn't bother me. For me, it's not
here we
quite
go.
There you
centered
go.
at the table.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
See,
What have I done?
I don't think I have
Oh, my
OCD, but it does.
I don't
bug
like
me
things
if
to be too perfect because I like to appear as though
That's kind of, yeah.
I almost have my shit together. You don't want all your shit together.
All right.
That's too much.
Okay, well, that's true.
It's definitely worse now. I made it worse.
So this is a story you told me once, but I want it said in podcast form.
Okay.
I want to hear about the first time Jerry Seinfeld headlined the Ice House.
Yes, he was this comic named Jerry Seinfeld was headlining. I'd heard he wasn't doing that well, and I went in twice that week to listen to him. And at the end of the week, I said, "Look, you haven't done as well as the other headliners we have, and so I'm not going to book you back." And he said, "Hey, I respect that. Thank you for being honest with me." And I wrote in my book, "Unexciting headliner, don't book back." So the story's better when you go, "Oh, who was that?" And then you say it was Jerry Seinfeld. So, but that was Jerry Seinfeld. No one knew who he was. In his defense, instead of facing an audience now that loves him and wants to hear his type of comedy, he was facing an audience that had no idea who he was, and they didn't like what he was doing. They weren't wild about it. So that happens with a lot of comics where I've seen their acts are okay, then they become successcul, they draw a different audience, and the audience goes
they crush.
wild.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So Bill Maher, I had to say, I'm not going to book you back because my audience is not into what you're doing, your political stuff. But I said, I hope one day you'll be a star and you'll be willing to come back. So when we put your name out there, you'll get your audience. And he was nice enough to do that.
That is nice of him. How come, though? Here's my question. To me, if I was the owner of the Ice House, and
You
Jerry
were going to
Sein-
say Comedy Store, weren't you?
I was going to say Comedy Club.
Comedy Club. Okay.
If I was the owner of the Ice House,
Yeah.
and there's a comedian up on stage bombing, Jerry Seinfeld's up there just shitting up the place, I'm just going to write in my book, don't book him again, but not say anything.
Oh.
Is there But maybe they went up, but I could also see them, comedians can be aggressive.
Yeah.
Maybe comedians went up to you and go, hey, this is so much fun. Can I love to do it again? Does that happen? And then you're kind of like, listen, I wasn't going to say anything, but no, I'm not going to have you again.
Here's what I feel. Showing respect for a comedian is not saying anything to him and having him leave and then write in your book, I'm never going to book that guy back again. Then he calls or his agent calls
Right.
and they can't. Yeah, showing respect is to be honest with people, whether it's a relationship or a relationship with a comic. Just to go, listen, I'm just going to be honest up front with you. You're just not doing as well as our other comics. And so I'm not going to have you back.
Yeah, I just block them. I just block them.
Yeah.
That's your strategy. Yeah, I would love to see Mitch say to somebody,
No.
hey,
You're not catting it.
you're not doing that good. I'm not going to have you back.
Yeah.
That would be the most uncomfortable.
I've definitely
Awkward
never
thing.
said that to anyone.
Yeah.
But I've also never seen a bad comic.
But I
Seen a
never
bad comic?
No,
I
they're all
never
really,
said
they're
he
all really,
wasn't.
really good.
I never said he wasn't
No,
good.
you're right. I know.
And also, I usually would say to
backpedaling.
people, hey, no one's anointed me the guru of comedy. This
No
is
one's
just
perfect,
This
yeah.
is just a thought I have about your act. It may be valid,
not
it may
good.
not. I don't see this as good right now as the other comics we're booking, so I'm not going to headline you.
Oh, I mean, people tout all the time about Mitzi Shore's like eye for talent because, you know, she gets credit, I would say, for like Robin Williams, Letterman, all these amazing, famous comedians. But people don't look up some of the crazy names that are on that wall of people who are just terrible.
Right.
Didn't speak English, all sorts of terrible comics that she thought. I think she told she told I forget who it was. She told several comedians like, you should do a character, you should do an accent. And they're like, what? No,
Yeah.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. So no one knows everything.
I would
about
screw
comedy.
around with comics if they had just an okay set. I would go up and I go, you know, I'm not the king of comedy, but have you ever thought of ventriloquism? They would kind of look at me, you know, because they don't know if I'm kidding or not.
Right.
You know, so okay.
I'll
Did
think
you really
about
say that to
Yeah.
people?
Huh?
Did
Yeah.
you? Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anyone you saw over the years, and this could be at the comedy spot in Newport Beach, this could be at our laugh stop at Newport Beach, could be at the Ice House, that you saw, they weren't famous, they were a no-name comedian, and you saw them and you go, that person's going to be a massive star, and then they were.
Yeah. Well, you know, people who go, oh, yeah, I recognized Robin Williams was going to be, you know, so you'd have to be blind not to have seen Robin Williams was going to be a big star. So Robin was one. David Letterman wasn't. I enjoyed David Letterman, but I didn't see him becoming as big as he is. Jay Leno seemed to be recognizable. There's a comedian, Sebastian Maniscalco. I just saw him on stage and I went, wow, he was pretty incredible. And he's become very big now.
Yeah.
So in my 40 years, I think, I would go on stage and I'd give a bottle of Dom Perignon to acts I thought were unique and special and were going to make it. And so that was, Bill Maher, Robin Williams. God, I don't even remember some of the Sebastian Maniscalco.
I think,
There were some.
I think Theo was the
Yeah,
last
he
one.
gave Theo.
Theo Vaughn,
Theo Vaughn.
yeah, yeah. So that's not too many out of all the acts I'd seen to give out 11 bottles of champagne.
It was 11?
Yeah,
Wow.
probably. If I was Gentile, I would have given out more bottles of champagne.
No, but that makes it that much more special.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't do it very often in all those years.
How about the opposite? Is there any comics where you went, oh, that guy's going to make it, and they just surprised you never did make it?
You
That's
won't
an
know-
awkward question.
Yeah,
I had.
there is one. You won't know him though. His name's Vic Dunlop. He was a very heavy set guy. I thought for sure they would use him in sitcoms. He would have a spot, and it just
Didn't happen.
never happened. Which is a good topic that you bring up because, I mean, if someone wants to be a comedian, right, it better be in their heart because their chances are so slim of becoming financially successful and secure. You know, who knows what it is? 1 out of 100. something like that. So you got to really want it so badly that you're willing to put up with the slings and arrows and the people in the audience and go through it.
I think you have to love it so much that you'll do it even if that never happens, because you know, you meet a lot of people, whether it's in stand-up or acting or music, that go, I'm going to give myself 4 years.
Yeah.
And if nothing happens, then I'll get a job. They're never going to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that people like that have made it, but overall, it's not going to work. You can't have that attitude. You have, I'm doing this, and if I make it, amazing. And if I don't, I'm still doing it because this is what I want to do.
I agree.
They say the biggest determinant in success, not just among comedians, but anyone in their life, is the term grit. They just won't give up. They're going to work and work and work, and they're going to be put down and knocked down, and they're going to get up again. They have grit. And so, you know, if you don't have that as a comic, you're not going to make it.
Was there a moment, or was it just you hit that age? What was the moment where you're like, all right, time to bow out of this business?
I was 32 at the time. You know, I think I do recall one night sitting in the back row of the Ice House watching a show, and a comedian said something, and the audience went crazy, and I went, I have no idea why that's funny. That didn't happen to me very often. And then I looked around, and I also went, wow, I'm 40 years older than everyone else in this room. What am I doing here? So I realized it's time to move on, you know. So, and after you've been doing anything for 43 years, you get a little tired of it. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, I was in my 70s, and I go, well, how much longer do I have? There's other things I'd like to do, even if it's doing nothing. Mm-hmm. So all those kind of came together, and you also getting tired of the pressure. It was, you know, for the Ice House, the overhead was $45,000 a week. Wow. So I knew that every week I had to bring in enough business to generate $45,000 worth of income. Well, I did that for 41 years there, but that's tired. Some years it was easy, like in the 80s. We talked about it. And other years it was pulling teeth to fill that room up.
Yeah.
And get people there. And so
when the 80s hit in your head, were you like, I am so lucky? Like, did you think I'm so lucky? Did you think, wow, I'm such a great business owner? I did this. Like, what was going through your head in that 80s boom?
I think I did my share. I never thought of myself as a bad businessman. I thought I was pretty good, but I was lucky to be in the era when comedy was catching on and really getting bigger. So it was definitely an element of luck in it.
And then how long did that boom last in that time? Was it 10, 15 years?
Yeah, 10 years. And I went from tearing up my credit cards and sending them back in. And in 10 years, I wanted to tell my dad, who was still alive, I wanted to use a financial figure as to that I'd become successful. Mm-hmm. I never could quite tell him that because I thought he might go, oh yeah, show off. But in 10 years, I was doing pretty well and had started to accomplish what I wanted to, which was to make sure that when I was this age, I didn't have to worry about money, that things were okay.
Was there something when you started making money? Was there like, I'm gonna buy a BMW? Like, was there a moment where you're like, I did it. I'm gonna.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
You said you bought a TV once that cost $10,000.
Oh. $10,000 TV? That's, yeah.
Well, but listen, it was a 42-inch. And what happened was when high-definition television first came out, that's what a 42-inch, now they cost $700. Mm-hmm. It was $10,000. And I went.
That counts for the question.
I looked at the picture, and it was so fantastic.
Yeah.
I went, I don't care. I'm going to spend this kind of money. It was against every principle in my life. I'm sure my dad turned over in his grave, but I spent $10,000 for the first 42-inch television.
That's a good story. Did you get to use that TV? Do you remember that TV?
Oh, I remember that TV. That would still look. That would probably still look. I feel like it holds up. It would still look.
Yeah,
good
it's
now.
probably like a 1080p.
Yeah,
a
equivalent
42-inch TV. Yeah, big screen TV. That's cool.
Yeah.
When your dad was selling the Ice House.
Yeah.
Was a part of you like, no, because he's had it your whole entire life?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when we weren't sure what was going to happen or who it was going to go to or, yeah, definitely sad. But not not sad to see you not in it because I knew that you were definitely ready to not be doing that anymore. But yeah, I feel very nostalgic about the Ice House. And I'm grateful to still be there. I really do like it there. It's like a little family thing for me.
And then, I think it would be stupid not to touch on this. I think from my outside perspective, this is before I moved to LA, not knowing anything about comedy. How I heard of the Ice House is Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan Experience he filmed that at the Ice House.
The Ice House Chronicles.
Ice House Chronicles, but also even the Joe Rogan Experience. Was that filmed at the Ice House originally? Do you even know?
I could be wrong about this. I think they were calling the episodes that.
Ice House Chronicles.
Ice House Chronicles, yeah.
I remember that. I was on one back when I first moved to LA.
Well,
I was on with like Redman, Joe Rogan, all these people, and couldn't believe it because that's how I heard it. How did that affect the business? And what was the timeline of the story with Joe Rogan?
It's real important that you have celebrities come out to your club because that cements your reputation as an A club. So you can't become a top club if you don't have occasional celebrity headliners doing their thing. But the most important shows don't headline celebrities. The most important shows are what Mitch is doing and will do a lot of, the showcase shows, where people can come and see 6, 8 acts that you've culled out and you think will be headliners and really important acts in the future. You can discover comedy stars and then celebrities who just happen to show up unannounced. That's the show that makes your club go. But again, you got to sprinkle it with some celebrities. So Joe was very important in that respect. George Lopez, who was a $25 a night MC for a year. When he became successful, that was really important. Gabriel Iglesias.
I think regarding Joe, this is just my recollection of the story, I think the club was hurting quite a bit, right? And he was aware of that, and he wanted to help out. Isn't that why he started kind of doing the
I think that's true. He was always very gracious. Like he was kind of guy, we give percentages of the door you knew he was going to sell out. He could have asked me for 100%, 110%. This is before he had, he's been successful as he is now. And instead he went, no, I just want 60%. He said, we both have to do well. If this is going so he was more than fair. I'm a fan of his.
Me too. Yeah, I think he's great. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, he had a falling out with the Comedy Store at the time from the Carlos Mencia incident.
That's right.
Did he ever, because the Carlos Mencia still performed there too, did he ever say anything like, don't have that guy there?
He never said that to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think whether maybe another comic did. And
I'm sure. I'm sure.
And I wasn't proud of myself because for about 6 months or 8 months, I didn't have Carlos there. And then I went and I looked at his act and I went, I know his reputation was that he copies other people. I didn't see it. I didn't recognize anything he said that reminded me of, say, George Lopez or anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the idea of blackballing anyone anyhow. So
he still sold tickets and did very well on stage. So as a business owner, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I have to tell a contradictory story.
Okay.
I've only seen Carlos Mencia on stage. This is just what happened. Mm-hmm. I've only seen him on stage one time, and I went into that going like, "Oh, is he gonna?" I didn't know that he. I was like, I'm sure that's not real that he steals material, and I was really into Daniel Tosh at the time. I don't remember the joke, but he did a verbatim joke that I had heard on a Daniel Tosh show, just the exact same joke, and I was like, I can't believe he's doing this. I can't believe I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And it was of a subject that two people wouldn't have just thought about the same thing.
Not verbatim, right?
Not verbatim.
No, it was like word for word.
That's the thing. Like I've had incidents even with my own jokes where I'll either hear about someone or I'll see someone doing a very similar joke, even to the point where I'm like, I can't do the joke anymore. It's too close to that.
Wow.
And it doesn't bother me because I have enough other jokes and I'm writing other jokes to where I'll just throw that joke away. And usually I even like it because it's a good comedian. I'll be like, wow, I have a similar sense of humor as that great comedian.
Yeah.
But it's still, I could always tell no one stole it from either one of us because they're different. They're just very similar. But when you hear someone doing verbatim, exact, then you're like, that was
Robin
dumb.
Williams stopped going into the Comedy Store. He wouldn't go inside because his mind was such, he just was like a sponge. He'd follow things up, and when he was on stage, he'd just manic, and stuff would come out that he heard.
Yeah.
from the other comedians. And so he would wait outside until they called him in, and he didn't want to watch comedians because he would
Just
you know,
subconsciously.
take some of their stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that. I definitely did. Is there anything that either of you have issues in your life that I could help you with?
Well, that was a quick pivot.
Well, I'm a little embarrassed. I don't know if they should be on a podcast, but I have prostate problems.
Yeah, bowel movement issues.
Yeah. And
You say bowel movement issues?
Is that different?
Yeah.
Is prostate penis?
Oh man, I mean,
What's isn't prostate in the rectum? Where's a prostate? Where's a prostate on a man?
Where's it?
prostate on a man.
Is that prostate more of a sexual issue or more of a
Here, let
bowel
me phrase it
movement
to you
issue?
this way. During the course of an evening, I get up approximately every 6 minutes to pee. Okay? So that's a prostate problem.
Are you drinking anything weird?
No.
Just mainly drinking water?
Yeah.
Just liquid death.
Water. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think your listeners want to hear this? How many listeners do
Yeah.
you How many listeners do you have, by the way? Am I wasting my time being
You
here
are
today?
wasting your time.
Okay.
No, several thousand.
Oh, that's good.
Not
okay.
not even in the tens of. So it varies based on guest.
Yeah.
So if I have a popular, much like the Ice House and bringing in a famous
Right,
comedian will
right.
sell out.
Yeah.
If I have a popular person on the podcast, it'll
Yeah.
get more listens. But if it's a no name,
Yeah.
if
So no
it's-
one's gonna watch this.
It might-
if it's just me,
yeah.
no, or someone who is not a recognizable figure, a few thousand, maybe
So-
3 to 5,000,
So with my being on here, you'll be able to advertise that. What would you guess?
3 to 5,000.
Or
3 to
probably
5,000.
low, a little bit lower.
Low.
Yeah, yeah,
Low.
yeah.
Very,
I
very
normally watch every
low.
episode, but this one just
Yeah.
I shut it off
no.
after 2
Yeah,
minutes.
No.
I have something I'd like to bring up. On
Yeah.
my way over here, I was listening to other episodes of the podcast so I could
Prepare.
prepare. Yeah, and that is a sick intro song you have. It's really, really cool.
The intro song to Unlicensed Therapy was made
I made it.
by Mitch, and
And you're still
it was
using
made
it?
a long time ago. It was probably made. Here's how long it was.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
In the
it's a
intro
long time.
song, someone goes,
Ken
Ari,
Gar.
yeah, it was Ken Gar. He goes, "You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to what you have to say?"
Yeah.
And I'm 32 now. So 8 years ago.
Wow, 8 years.
I'm 25, so I'm older now. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Wow.
8 years ago, he made that intro song. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm probably going to get a new one made
It's
at some
not.
point.
It's not good.
No,
it's
it
really
is
not
good.
good.
It is good.
It's
But
a-
it's been there a long time. And it's a little, as the podcast has not grown, but changed or whatever, and is what it is now, I think it's a long intro. I think the podcasting landscape has changed to where now you really want like 15, 20-second intros.
Yeah.
To podcasting. But you made that. I remember when there was a period of your life. So at the time, let's see, if it was 8 years ago, that means you were 18. How old were you?
Yeah, about right.
Yeah.
18 years old, where
my God.
not only were you making music and really passionate about making music,
Right.
but you are not a rich man. And you had this like probably the shittiest laptop I've ever seen. It was like
Really
this,
bad.
It was like this old comp PC. I don't remember what manufacturer the laptop was, but
I'm
it was
sorry,
this bulky,
son. He didn't have to say that.
It was
slow,
huge.
shitty laptop.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I make music on here.
Yeah.
So the fact that you made that song on that piece of equipment makes it even more impressive to me.
Look, I'm
that's good.
gonna
Yeah.
tell you that song is almost completely ripped off from.
Well,
I can't think of it's
yeah,
like
it's a beat.
yeah, it's sample.
Yeah, it's samples,
I
yeah.
sample. I
Yeah,
can't
of
think of
course.
who it is. It's like a famous song. It's like
Yeah.
something in the ghetto or
Yeah,
something.
I
like
know that.
Okay, I'm just making
But
sure
it's
you
still
know.
good because you still sampled it very well. It's still impressive that you made it. It's not
Thanks.
with the samples that you put together,
Thank you.
in my opinion.
Thanks.
And I get compliments on it, even in the comments. So I get people who've listened to the podcast in person saying, love the intro song. And I also occasionally get a YouTube comment that says, great intro song.
Cool intro song.
Yeah, great song.
It's also my voice in there.
One person even said that other podcasts were ripping it off.
What?
And I don't believe that, but it's been said. And then now we're going to
Get
play
rid of
the
that
music
for
your
you.
dad's been
I'm trying to
making.
find my brother.
Just cut this out.
Too soon. That's my brother, the little guy.
How hard is it going to be to cut this out?
No, this is just saying it's got to go in. The diamonds.
Bump do I? Come on, everybody. What?
Does your brother still sing?
No.
No.
He's 86 this year.
You could sing at 86.
He could. Actually, he was invited back, but his throat can't do it, and he didn't
Got
want
it.
to travel. They were going to do a different thing. But he had about 17 good years where he really enjoyed it, traveled everywhere, and
Yeah.
was on
that's-
stage.
I think
Pretty
it's
incredible.
safe to say that like if he was in that situation now, he'd be very wealthy. But I think back then all the money went to like the I don't know
The label.
manager, the label. Yeah. So
Yeah. Although ripoffs are still real common among music people, right? They'll talk about that. Like the Eagles, they were 8 years in, they had 9 hit records, and they were poor. They,
Yeah,
you know,
it
so,
still happens. Yeah, if you get bought out by a major music, because they say things like, "Oh yeah, we pay you as soon as we recoup the costs."
right.
And then even though it costs them, 50, 100 grand to make your album or whatever it is, they go, "Oh no, we spent $3 million making
Right.
that album." You're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And I think the same thing happens in comedy specials. There's like a company, and I've never worked with them, but I don't even know if I should say their name because it's just rumor. I've never actually experienced it myself. But there's Comedy Dynamics. From my understanding, they shoot a lot of the comedy specials, and they'll do similar things. Well, they'll pay the comedian, I think, 30 or 40 grand initially, and they'll be like, "Yeah, so if we sell this somewhere, we're gonna, of course, you get your cut of it." After we recoup our production costs, and then they just
Yeah.
that's
never
it.
hear from them.
Or here was one the Laugh Factory YouTube channel. They would say the same things. Oh, we split the money with the comedians. My video's been on there for years. I've never gotten a dime. So shit like
the
that
clips that they
happens.
upload.
Yeah,
I
the
see.
clips.
Even in movies, they had investors, and they went, it'd been 8 years, and they were claiming that The Godfather was not profitable yet. And so they were still not getting any money for their investment in one of the most famous pictures of all time.
Yeah,
It's just,
there's shady there's shady parts of the business. And
what
you just
percentage
know
of
that
people
going
would
in.
you say are,
Good people?
legitimate and good people? Just
I like to think that it's probably 80%. I think most people are good. 8 out of 10 people are good.
Wow.
And the 2 people that are bad ruin it for everyone else and make my guard up around anyone.
Yeah.
Even though most people I think are good, but there's enough bad people because 2 out of 10 is a decent amount of people.
Yeah.
So when 2 out of 10 people double cross you, it makes you so your guard's up around anyone you meet. And it's unfortunate for me.
I
That
don't
sounds
think
accurate to me.
I think I'd give it 6 out of 10,
6
maybe,
out
or
of 10,
7.
Wow.
And we know how sad when you think there's 3 or 4 people out of 10 that just they could care less about respecting you. They just want to take advantage of you. I don't get that.
I learned it the most, I think. I was doing Airbnb in Turo for years. And that Airbnb is like you turn your house into a hotel,
Yeah.
basically. And Turo's you rent your car out to people.
That was when you
yeah.
committed insurance fraud, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
good.
maybe I'm one of these bad people. Yeah. So 9 out of 10 people, 8 out of 10 people, they'd come in, they'd treat your house with respect. They would, it was a great experience. And it would be like, great, this is a good business. And then every once in a while you come in the house and they just destroyed your
Tore it up.
furniture, broke your TV, whatever, screw you over in some way. And you go, man, some people are
People
just
suck.
assholes.
Wow.
People
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
Does Airbnb cover that when that happens?
They do, but it's still
It
like,
still sucks,
It
yeah.
still sucks, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do. They have a good insurance. Is there anything that you wanted to ask? Anything you could think of?
Anything you
Think we
want. I'll tell you
covered it?
anything.
Is there anything you guys think I left out? that
One
should be-
time, my dad got peed on,
I want to hear that.
and I like that. I like that story. I think it's a good story.
By an audience member or an artist?
By
Or by an ex-girlfriend?
Bunch of young boys.
I don't know why, but I didn't really think Mitch was going to bring this up, and I haven't prepared for it.
I love it.
I was nerdy. I was like 8 years old. I went down in Hollywood Way here at night to go to a square dance lesson. And
8 years old going to square dance lessons.
and
you
when
were
I
not
it was like there was a bunch
cool
of people.
kid.
No, I wasn't, and I still am not. But I walked out. It was dark, and about 5 kids who were probably 14 or 15 came up and kind
Didn't
of
even know who you were.
no,
You were just a random
just
kid. then.
hassled me into
a little square
and
dancer.
as I recall,
Peed on
one
you.
or two of them decided that I needed some liquid refreshment. I would prefer to.
That sounds
that way.
traumatizing.
Yeah.
Bullying was different back in the day.
I know,
I
know.
I never peed on a kid or got peed
No,
on
I
when I was
know.
a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was bad.
Did you cry?
I don't remember.
Do you have a urine fetish these days?
No, but I'm an existentialist, which means that I pretty much take things as they happen and go, okay, that's part of life. And things aren't likely to traumatize me as they might other people. I go,
That's
okay,
not part of
it
life
happened.
for most people.
Yeah, that's not part of life, Bob.
Oh,
That's a terrible
Wow.
experience. I'm sorry you went through that.
I went back.
I feel terrible.
I went
for
back.
you.
I went back. Square dance lessons about 6-8 weeks in a row after that. And I
Wow.
never
Went
saw.
back for more. You're like,
Yeah.
where's the pee? I
Never
thought
saw
this-
my friends.
Now every time you square dance, you get a little salty taste in your mouth.
As a 32-year-old man, if someone peed on me, I would be traumatized. As an 8-year-old boy,
Oh my god, yeah.
I would be fucked up. One time,
Wow, this podcast has taken a strange turn.
Can we clip that as the intro for this?
Wow, wow.
As an 8-year-old boy getting peed on, I'd be fucked up.
I would.
Welcome to
I was seeing a young lady, an adult, not 8, above,
All right, good,
over
good,
18.
Good.
And of all the relationships I've had in my life, there was one who she wanted me to pee on her.
Oh.
And I did because I'm a pleaser. I'm a gentleman.
Oh,
So I
You're a giver.
I give people what they want.
you're a giver.
And yeah, I peed on her.
How'd it go?
Didn't do anything for me, but she seemed to like it.
Wow. Wow, I never
Well,
thought.
thanks so much.
Yeah, I just wanted you as
Speaking
a
of
father
that-
and son duo to know that
Well,
about me.
I like that. Speaking of that, is there any doubt that Putin has tapes of Trump doing shit like that with girls when he was just
I
a
forgot about that.
businessman 20 years ago?
Good question.
And it wasn't, no thought he'd ever run for president. And when it was normal for Russians to set people up with women, put them in certain rooms, and then videotape
Was that
them.
normal?
Back then, yeah.
For,
that
like,
was-
famous
that
people,
was-
like-
yeah,
Oh, really?
famous people to do
With
that.
the intention of like getting
I
dirt
mean, you
on
see
her.
the-
Personally, I think Trump is a great man and would never have done any taken behavior like that. But yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if are you a big Joe Biden guy?
I'm not a big Joe Biden guy, but I'm
Yeah.
definly not a
You're
Trump
not a
guy.
Trump guy.
No. I
Yeah,
think
some people don't like to support the greatest president we've ever had.
All
but
right,
I get
okay. Well, he may be a great man, but he's not interested in democracy, and so I guess that's a hindrance for him to realize this is a democracy, and so
He's gone now, right?
He's
I
coming
don't
back.
think
For now,
so.
yeah. You think he'll come back and win?
I think he's got a good chance. You want to talk politics
We'll
a little
find
bit
out.
or not?
Sure.
That was
I don't
two,
care.
Okay.
two really
So
quick
let's say
pivots there.
Biden's too old to run again, or
I agree with
he said
that.
he's going.
I think he was too old to run this time.
And so the tendency would be to give the nomination to the vice president. Okay, well,
Kamala.
yeah. So I have nothing against black and female, but I think
I don't really like Kamala.
to run a person like that gives the Republicans quite a better chance to win the election again. I think
Right.
Trump would beat her in an election.
I would tend to agree, and fingers crossed that he does win. And
Yeah.
it's our, no,
Okay, on the air, I want to tell my favorite story.
okay.
If people ask me what's a funny thing you've done, I'll go, all right, I think this is the funniest thing I've done. Do you know the story I'm going to tell?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think it's funny?
No, it's great.
You
it's
said
great.
yes.
I'm just
and then-
thinking
and then
about
you shook your head
how
so slightly.
I'm just thinking about how quickly this changed. You were like, "You want to say anything else?" My dad got peed on. Trump's not getting
Yeah, that's
reelected.
right. In a
Here's a
different way.
story
It's
about
getting
me.
good
Different
now.
way, yeah, okay. So
The
anyhow,
podcast starts now.
I lived in a little apartment building, and then one day I took my laundry out to the washer dryer room, which was
Right.
about 30 yards away, and I had just finished putting my wash into the dryer, and I had the lint screen, and I'd scooped the lint screen. There was a lot of lint in there,
lint, yeah.
and just as I did that, it's in my hands. I look and I see a friend of mine, a girl who also lived in the building, and she's bringing her wash there. She can't see me. And so I was wearing shorts and a T-shirt that was out. So I took this wad
Lint.
of lint and I lifted my shirt and I put it inside the top of my pants sticking out, and I covered it with the shirt. So she comes in, a minute later, she hadn't seen it, and we're talking. And as we're talking, I'm just kind of scratching myself. Finally, she goes, is is anything wrong? And I go, well, this is embarrassing. I said, I think it's heredity, but my family has a tendency to develop an overabundance of belly button lint, and sometimes I can't believe it. And I pull my shirt up, and there's this wad of lint sticking out. I'm proud of that. So that tells you a little something. I don't know what.
I'm
sure she laughed.
Lose her shit?
I think she laughed. I don't remember actually.
In my head, she wouldn't laugh. She would freak out
Oh.
and think it was actual belly
last time
button
you
lint.
spoke-
Well, this was the same girl, by the way. She worked at the Ice House as a bartender. And on an anniversary week where we were having different name headliners all 5 nights, she said, I'm going to have sex with each of these guys.
Oh my God.
And she ended up taking 4 of them home.
Ooh, I want to know who the one who rejected her was.
He didn't reject her. She gave him head in the dressing
got it.
room.
So she was 5 for 5.
She was 5 for 5.
Wow.
And she was a brilliant.
We need more women like this.
She was a brilliant girl. Yeah, we do.
I think
Do you have a story not like that?
belly lint story?
Yeah, where you're like, that was really, really
You're proud
funny.
of stuff.
I mean, I'm sure I do, but nothing's coming to mind. That's quite like. I mean, my prank. I have a prank video where I sold all my parents' cars. That was pretty fun. Or I gave them away. I actually didn't sell them. I gave them away.
Wow.
My mom maybe almost had a heart attack. Yeah. Oh, this is a video. This is okay. Here's a good story. There's no video. This is my best prank I've ever done.
Okay.
Have you heard of a little club? I think this might actually be an Ice House competitor called Flappers Comedy Club
I've heard of that.
Yes.
in Burbank.
Yes.
So amongst comedians, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, Flappers, although it was a good venue to perform at, they
Nice
have
building.
a couple rooms, and it's a good acoustics, and if it's a full crowd, it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah.
They don't have the best reputation for comedians because they tend to not pay. They tend to make money off of new comedians, make money off of open mics and have comedy classes. So they tend to be looked at as like you said, not an A. Even though they do have celebrities too. They have Bill Burr headlines there, Whitney Cummings. They tend to, in my opinion, looked at as maybe a B room in Los Angeles, and they get made fun of by comedians a lot in passing. Even me, who will still perform there, make fun of them. So me and my business partner Abby, who started this podcast studio with me, had this great prank idea where we would go on Craigslist and post that we are looking for someone to join our band to go to the Bumbershoot Music Festival. So we're looking for a replacement guitar player because we had a falling out with ours. And we're holding auditions at the Flappers Comedy Club open mic. So we would like, if anyone's interested in joining our band, to come with an acoustic guitar, to go on the stage, sign up as a first timer, so they put you up right away, and say how long you've been playing guitar, who your influencers are, and play a acoustic piece, one song, no lyrics, and then get off the stage. We put up this ad on Craigslist.
Wow.
We show up to the open mic. There must have been 30 to 40 people there with acoustic guitars
Oh no.
at the Flappers
And they're going,
open mic.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting in the back of the room, and it's all comedians. And I remember hearing a few comedians going like, there's a lot of guitar comics tonight. And one by one, this guy goes, the first guy goes up there. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I love this person. I'm playing guitar for 15 years. Here's my song. And at first, he's so serious. And then he plays a song with no songs that people in the room are laughing because they don't know, it's just
What's
so
happening,
bizarre. So they think he's joking. The first guy's joking. So he's probably confused because everyone's laughing at him. He gets off the stage. One by one, probably gets to about 8 guitar players.
Wow.
There was one moment where the guitar player was actually he had this nylon string guitar, and it was so beautiful, and you could tell people were actually getting into it. And me and Abby are in the back of the room, tears streaming down our faces, trying so hard not to just bust out laughing. We had
that's
to leave the
hilarious.
room several times because we were going to have laugh attacks. It's the funniest. And then finally, the owner, Barbara Holiday, gets up on stage and goes, I don't know what's going on. This is a comedy open mic. There's no audition here. I don't know what you guys were told, but that's not what this is. And whoever is organizing an audition. Please come forward. Let's talk to me. And we just nothing happened.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I mean, the only
That's a
people
good
who
one.
paid there are the poor guitar players.
Yeah. But welcome to Hollywood, baby.
Tough business.
Yeah, you gotta do the shitty auditions too.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've driven to Santa Monica to do a shitty commercial audition? One time I drove to Santa Monica to to audition for a UFC commercial. UFC's Ultimate Fighting Championships.
Yeah.
It's all these buff dudes, goes in a room, takes their shirt off, and does this line. Or they do the line, then they take their shirt off and do the line again. I wait. I drove all the way to Santa Monica in traffic. I wait an hour to do my audition. I do my line, and then they're like, "Thanks for coming in. Have a good one." Didn't tell me to take my shirt off.
Wow.
Just wasted my time
Wow.
because
That's bad.
I'm not good looking enough.
You've had a lot of dates like that, though, too, that didn't want you to take your clothes off.
Every day.
Most
I've
days.
had is like that.
Thanks for coming.
Have you ever had sex with a Filipino?
Good question. Flips, they like to call them. I had a Filipino roommate once, but we never had sex.
Okay. All right, I was just curious. That has nothing to do with anything.
You just want to know.
Just curious.
Just for imagination.
Yeah, sure.
I've had sex with a few Asian women. No Filipinos. What about you, Mitch?
No.
Not yet? We'll get there.
I'll get there.
Yeah.
Here you
Thanks for coming on
Here
the
you go.
podcast. I really appreciate it. I do want to say, final thing, Ice House Comedy Club. Even though you're no longer the owner, Mitch still works there, so it's a good give and plug.
Yeah.
They're the first comedy club. You were the first comedy club to ever give me stage time. I even before I met you, I went and got tricked into doing a bringer show there that I don't even think you guys knew was a bringer show. This guy, like Big Ellery Alexis, I don't know if it's like this tall, shady black guy.
Whoa.
And I responded to an ad on Craigslist and performed on his show there. And then I met you, and you were probably still to this day, I'd say the nicest guy I've met in the comedy world.
Thank you.
You gave me my first job paying job in comedy. I did my first paying gig at the Ice House. It probably wasn't a lot to you, but to me, as a guy living in my aunt's garage, it was a lot of money for me at the time, and it was it was really special.
That's nice for you to say that. I've always been impressed by you as a person.
It's very nice.
Down to earth, real. Always enjoyed being around you.
Thank
and
you.
also, whenever we'd go out, I would usually end up paying the bill, but you would sincerely reach for your wallet and you would bring it out.
I think I paid for it once.
You did once, you would do it every time. And I have to tell you, hardly anyone does that. They don't. But you
You're saying it
actually, I
wasn't
know
like a
you
fake-
want to be a part of it, and you wanted to,
I just like obviously. I get it. Like, and the same thing happens to this day. If I'm with like a new comic and we're going out to eat, and I know they're struggling, I think it's just human nature. If there's a guy doing very well, they pay, and I get that. But I think you at least gotta be willing, be willing to pay, and then I do think if someone pays every time, even if they're rich, you got to be like, hey, I'm gonna pay. I gotta return the favor.
The first time I went out with Johnny Buss, I picked up the check.
You did?
Yeah.
But you were trying to sell him something.
He was trying to buy something.
True.
I mean, it was kind of an even thing, really.
But
the
person selling, they got to buy.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I think
probably
even
true.
though he's trying to buy something,
I just felt like probably no one
has done
ever
that for
picks
him.
up the check with him. I think he was a little shocked.
Yeah.
So, but
who pays if him and Kobe Bryant went out to dinner?
God.
Who would pay?
Him?
Probably him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I think Kobe probably had more money.
Russell Westbrook, $40 million a year.
40.
Playing basketball.
Wow. Must be nice.
Yeah. Let's just make
picked
that
the wrong. We picked the wrong industry.
40. Let's make that 48. That's $4,000 a month. That means every 2 weeks when you get your check, it's. Did I say 4,000?
Yeah.
4 million.
You said 4,000.
4 million a
Every
month.
2 weeks you're getting 2
Every
million.
2 weeks you're getting $2 million.
Oh.
Let's $100
Tough
bucks.
life.
Let's $2 million. You can see. I see him filling out his deposit slip. $2 million less 150 cash. $3,800,000. I don't know what it is, but
If the engineer left, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think he went to go pee.
we're over. All right, we're
Yeah,
done.
but we're up.
This means
Thanks
we're
for
done.
doing the podcast.
That was fun.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
You're listening to
Unlicensed therapy with Ari Mannis.